Hiya, it's John Mansell, ex-boozehound. Hope you're well. The last vlog I did was a week ago, and it was about Adass Spring Seminar 21. Adass stands for Association of Directors of Adult Social Services. That was a 3-day seminar a week or so ago that I took part in, and this vlog is of similar purpose. It's last week. You may well be aware that it was Mental Health Awareness Week. I won't go into my usual rant and rave about the use of the word awareness. What I say is, if we're not aware by now, then when are we going to be aware? But anyway, we'll move forward. So last week there was 3 webinars, again run by Adass, and obviously it was called Mental Health Week. I tried to do this vlog yesterday, but just try and get across, the mental health issues that I have after sort of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, spending a couple of hours each day, listening to these and making notes about these webinars. It's really tiring. It leaves me very tired, wiped out, lack of concentration. So the weekend has been about sort of recovering from that. And yesterday I tried to do some planning about what I was going to say, and it didn't work out. I started to get all political, which I don't want to do. Yesterday I ended up having 2 meetings yesterday, and I'm going to mention them because the 2 organisations that I had the meetings with are relevant to adult social care and co-production, which again you'll have your own understandings of. The first meeting I had in the morning was with an organisation called Camp Hill Village Trust Shared Lives. They're an organisation that I've known for quite a while, and they're an example of a charity that can assist social services. I'll try and put the link to their website in the information below. And the other organisation I had a meeting with was a company called Governance International, and I've known them for a number of years as well, and they're all about co-production, which I think again is a really important thing that we need to concentrate in order to actually make the changes that we need now, and not allow us to be doing the same thing in 10 years time, having a system that just isn't fit for purpose. Today I tried to do some more preparation to do the vlog, and earlier on I sat for just over 27 minutes and try to do lots of quotes and things about everything that had cropped up in the meetings, and I just can't do it. I just can't bring it together. 27 minutes is ridiculous. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do another vlog on the political side of adult social care at some point, but I'm just going to try and sum up my feelings about last week rather than quoting lots of people. There are a couple of things I do want to quote, but I'll start off by giving you the titles of the 3 webinars. On the Wednesday it was Mental Health in the Community, the role of local authorities and approaches to meet the changing needs of the population during the pandemic and beyond. Obviously, these are all really catchy, natty titles. Second webinar on the Thursday was abuse, the pandemic, and safeguarding, supporting women's mental health and well-being. And the third one on the Friday was the role of data and technology in mental health assessment, efficient and sustainable data collection and assessment to support AMPs. And AMP stands for Approved Mental Health Professionals. I've got loads of notes, and I just can't fit them all in. But I think there are a couple of things that I want to make sure I do talk about. There was a phrase that was originally used by a lady called Beverly Tark from Adass, and it was, we've all been in the same storm, but we've not been in the same boat. In relation to the COVID situation, we've all been in the same storm, but we've obviously had different experiences. But it's important that we keep that in mind as we move forward. At the end of the first, on the evening of the first webinar, I posted something like, it was very interesting, encouraging and confusing, and I said in that tweet that I would expand on that. What I find confusing is I've had privileged access to stuff that not an awful lot of people with life experience have had. I've been involved in meetings, I've been involved with peer review, adult social care, done a bit of stuff with West Midlands Adass, and I've now done some stuff with Adass over the last couple of weeks. So I've seen people within the system, who run the system, who work for the system, talking, and it seems to me that the people who are there at these meetings, they know what they need to do. They understand the problems that they're facing, and they are all really driven to make those changes. And I think in particular as well, there's a couple of people that I am going to sort of mention. There was a guy called Isaac and a lady called Alexis Quinn, who are life experience people, and they gave their presentations, and by no stretch of the imagination can those two presentations be seen as supportive of the current and the previous system. So for me, social care, adult social care, Adass, West Midlands Adass, they seem to know what they need to do. They seem to have lots of great plans in place, and they seem to be held back. And I can't believe that it's just down to money, although that's a big part. And I don't really want to say this, but sometimes the way that the bosses and the people in charge are talking, you wonder whether there's a I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it, whether there's a big disconnect between the powers that be and the people on the front line. From what I've seen, I don't believe that's true, but they seem to know what they want to do. They've got plans, they understand what they're doing wrong, but they don't seem to be able to move it forward. And I don't think we've got any choice anymore. We cannot not move it forward. It's just not an option. So again, so they're willing to listen. They're willing to put out their stories of people who it's not working for. Anyway. Okay, so one of the things I will mention right from the start is something Beverly Tark said again, Mental Health Awareness Week encourages discussion about mental health and the things that can affect it. The theme this year is nature, and the reason I'm mentioning that is because I have got my arse in my hand a few times about mental health awareness. But the fact that they're talking about nature, I find really interesting, because I've used nature to help me benefit and make my well-being better. Get out there, get a bit of fresh air, listen to the birds, look at the tree, all that sort of stuff. So that's why I wanted to mention it. And the next thing I want to mention is there was a guy called Isaac, and as I say, this could be no way, his presentation, his words, it's in no way could you say it supports the current and the previous system. Some of the things he said was, I wasn't contacted at all during lockdown. He called his community mental health and simply just got a list of phone numbers, which is not very helpful if you're in a crisis position. He fortunately found a local charity that helped and said, but it's a shame that social care or community mental health couldn't help. He then went on to say, everything I needed for help just disappeared, and that point for me is touches on something that I really believe, is that we as people with whatever the issues are, we have to build our self-resilience in order not to rely on everybody else to fix our problems. I don't mean that in a negative way, but we have to build our resilience to have a chance. And you know, and he was and Isaac was also talking about the fact that he couldn't leave their house. He's got such anxiety about, you know, now we're able to go out, that he just can't do it. And you know, for me, if community mental health had been there during lockdown for him, if social care had been there for him during lockdown, he wouldn't be having these problems that he's having now. So, you know, the knock-on effect of social care and mental health care not being there during the lockdown is going to cause problems, and I think that's going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. Then had another person I want to mention is a guy called Perry. Now, he was introduced by a lady called Rachel Nicholson, who is Home Group's registered manager of Edendale House. She briefly spoke about a scheme that they've got up and running called Life. And I like Life because it stands for Living Independently and Feeling Enabled. Going back to the last vlog with Adass, this thing about independence and enabling, and you know, being enabled, you know, again, something I don't really want to talk about, but there's lots of things that need to be in place for independence, and one of those, I'm afraid, is finance. Again, I'm going to mention it that you know, obviously universal credit has been increased during COVID for £20 a week, and for me what that basically means is that the government are saying they know that what they pay on universal credit is not enough, and it seems to be okay to not pay people who have mental health issues or physical issues or whatever, but it's not okay to pay people, you know, insufficient funds if they're affected by COVID. That's just not on. I mean, at the end of the day, I've got a thing on one of my boards at home is that, you know, we live a limited substandard life through no fault of our own, for our illnesses and whatever. Perry was a young lad who had been living with Home Group for 3 years. He obviously got mental health issues, and he'd had issues with substance abuse. And one of the lines that he said I thought was really, really powerful. He said, I started using the support more than I was using the substances. And now that's really important. Me as an as a retired alcoholic, understands that entirely. You know, it's really difficult to get off substances. It's really difficult to break those patterns, especially if you've got other issues connected. But if the support is there, you're able to do it. And it just goes to show that if we can put the right support in place, people can make changes. People can be helped to better their lives. And I think that's another important thing as well, is I think a lot of people out there expect adult social services and national health, other organisations, to fix their lives for them. I don't believe that is the case. The NHS adult social care, for me, are there to support us into making our lives better. And while they're supporting us to do that, we have to build our own resilience to carry it through and keep going forward. So that you know, two really important bits of feedback from Isaac and from Perry, and the other really powerful thing that I think I've got to mention is a lady called Alexis Quinn. I can't even put into words how powerful her presentation was, and I've looked her up on Twitter, and this is how she describes herself. She's an RRN manager, which stands for Restraint Reduction Manager. She says she's a tortured autistic, author of Unbroken, autism campaigner and activist, international speaker and lover of Star Wars. That, for me, the words tortured autistic, if you get chance, you get the opportunity, try and find somewhere to listen to her speak and watch her presentation. It's so powerful, and it highlights something that, you know, has to change. This misdiagnosed, the length that it takes people to be diagnosed with certain things, and the mistreatment that they receive. Another thing that I need to highlight is something that a lady called Shirley McNicholas said. She's a women's lead and team manager of Drayton Park Women's Crisis House and Leisure Centre. Now, this is something that I've predicted and something I've heard a number of times over the last few months, over this last horrendous period we've been in, but it's a really powerful sentence. And she says, I'm hearing more conversations and willingness to be open to change than I've ever heard for a long time, and I have worked in mental health all my adult life. This is music to my ears. This is where we have the opportunity to make those changes, to do what needs to be done. I am hearing more conversations and a willingness to be open to change than I've ever heard before. This is the time where we have to listen to Isaac, we have to listen to Alexis, we have to listen to what the people in power are saying. They, you know, the people who run it, they know what they've got to do. They've got plans in place. They've got things there that they know they can change. They've got to change. We've got to have a backbone. We've got to be able to strip back what we've been doing and put new things in place. Obviously, I will come on to Boris and other politicians in my next vlog, but we cannot. It's not an option. This is where changes must be made. There has to be a line drawn in the sand. There has to be the funding has to be found, and sustainable funding, and the willingness to take gambles, try different things, because it's got to be done. We haven't got any more time. There's you know, with the current climate and where we are and where we're at, we cannot allow the underfunding and the ineffectiveness of the system to continue. It has to end at here. Now, I've just hit 20 minutes. I hope you can get from what I'm saying the fact that I again was honoured to be allowed to see what was going on in these webinars, and on a couple of them, the questions that I put in the question and answers, they got read out. So, you know, and it is really great to see Adass bringing people to their webinars, basically saying how poor the system and the service is. If we're open to change, then we need to make it work now. And at that point, I'm going to shut up. I don't think I need to say anything else. Come on, we've got to do this. This is we've got to work together. We've got to look at co-production. We as people who use the service have got to work with the services better, and not demand this and demand that. We've all got to work together. If we don't work together, we don't stand a chance. So this is the time we draw a line in the sand and we say, right, the changes are going to be made. We need to find, whatever government it is, Labour or Conservative, they can sit there slagging each other off, but nobody's done anything positive for years, both governments. That cannot happen. Boris, you've got to sort it out this time, mate, otherwise Conservatives will lose so much support. It's got to be sorted, mate, otherwise you're done for. I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to use my motto at the end: enjoy the good and ride out the bad. And if you work in adult social services or the NHS, or you found anything that I've said interesting, contact me. You know, you can comment on the vlog below, or you can find me on Twitter at exboozehound. You know, it'd be great to hear from you, see what you if you think that, you know, maybe I have things right, or do I have things wrong? Is there stuff that you guys can't say and perhaps I can? I'm willing to say whatever I have to help these changes. And if we have to say unpleasant things to the people in power, let's do it. Let's say unpleasant things. Let's make them understand exactly what it is that you have to go through on a day-to-day basis to give the best for your patients, for the people that you care for. I am going to shut up now. Thanks. If you did make it to the end, thank you very much, and I'll catch you all soon. Enjoy the good and ride out the bad. See ya. Bye bye.